Hi, everyone. This is Allison at Legal Aid Society of Middle Tennessee. I'm coming to you today to talk about some significant changes that are coming to the SNAP program in Tennessee. I wanted to talk about what those changes will be and also debunk a few rumors that we've seen circulating online about when those changes are coming and what they exactly they'll entail. So let me get started. On December 10th, the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, which is the federal agency that oversees the SNAP program nationwide, approved Tennessee's request to restrict purchases of certain foods using SNAP funds. So there are two specific groups of foods and beverages that will be restricted, meaning you will not be able to use SNAP dollars to purchase these items. The first group is processed foods that list sugar, cane sugar, corn syrup, or high fructose corn syrup as the first ingredient. Now, it's important to note that this does not include things like granulated sugar, raw sugar, or any other single ingredient sugars that you might use in cooking or baking. You will still be able to use SNAP funds to purchase those ingredients. The second group of restricted items will be beverages that list carbonated water and sugar, cane sugar, corn syrup, or high fructose corn syrup as the first two ingredients. Another important exception here is that beverages that list aspartame or some other kind of low calorie diet sweetener in the first two ingredients will not be restricted. Those will still be eligible for purchase with SNAP. So basically, processed foods with sugar as the first ingredient, beverages with carbonated water and sugar as the first two ingredients. There are a number of states around the country that are implementing these restrictions. Now, when will this happen? I've seen some reporting and some discussion online that this is going into effect January of 2026, so just next month. That is not true. We do not know exactly when these restrictions will be in place. The target date, in other words, Tennessee's goal, is to implement these restrictions by July 31st, 2026. There's a lot of work that's going to go into, particularly at the SNAP retailer level. So at the grocery stores, at the other places where you purchase SNAP, purchase foods with your SNAP benefits, they're going to have to go through and code each and every item on the shelves to note whether those are SNAP eligible or SNAP ineligible items. It's going to take a lot of work on the front end for retailers to be ready for these restrictions to roll out. So there's no way this is happening in January. And Tennessee says their target date, which could change, is July 31st of 2026. Another conversation I've seen online is that this is like we're turning the SNAP program into the WIC program. And if you're familiar with WIC, which is another very important and valuable nutrition program, it operates pretty differently from SNAP. With WIC, there's a specific approved package of foods that you can purchase. Basically, a list of items and amounts of items, and that's all you can buy with those benefits. That's not what's happening here. It's more like the list of restricted foods for SNAP is expanding somewhat, but there's not a list of specific approved foods, and that's all you can buy with your SNAP dollars. Another question that folks may have, particularly here in Tennessee, since we border so many other states, and a lot of our larger population areas are right on state lines. So you may have folks from Clarksville that purchase groceries in Kentucky, or folks in Memphis that do their shopping in Arkansas or in Mississippi, or folks in Chattanooga that shop in Georgia. What about out of state purchases? Well, some other states are implementing their own restrictions. And if you purchase SNAP, if you use SNAP to purchase food in one of those other states, like Arkansas, that's implementing a restriction program, you'll be subject to the restrictions in those states. A state like Kentucky or Mississippi has not yet announced that they plan to restrict purchases. And our understanding is that you will be able to use your SNAP dollars to do your regular grocery purchases in Kentucky and not be subject to those restrictions that are in place within the state of Tennessee. Some folks worry that if they do their shopping out of state, that they could that could trigger a fraud investigation for their SNAP case. And I want to reassure you that we understand and the state of Tennessee understands that some people who live particularly in border areas are going to purchase out of state. That is permissible. And in the approved food restrictions package from this week, it specifically says that out of state transactions will not be used as a primary indicator of fraud or negatively impact SNAP eligibility for the household. So I want you to remember that you're allowed to purchase out of state if that's the most convenient shopping location for you. If you ever run into a problem where the Department of Human Services has targeted your case because you're shopping out of state, you can give legal aid a call or whichever legal services organization serves your area, and we can take a look at that for you. There'll be undoubtedly some other updates and more specific information that we'll get as we get closer to the rollout of this program, of this restriction on the SNAP program. But for now, we just wanted to make everyone aware of it and let you know that it's not happening right away. Legal Aid will keep you updated as we get closer to that July 31st, 2026 target date. If you have any other issues with your SNAP case in the meantime, please do give us a call. We're here to help. Thank you.